What's up you guys, it's Martin here. And since a lot of you guys that are watching my videos are senior high school students, I thought it'd be very important for me to highlight some of the things that you should be doing when you turn 18 to set yourself up financially, so that you can make the most out of your youth and make it easier to achieve your future goals. This isn't some exciting bucket list, but it's these boring fundamentals that make your bucket list items a reality. I know money isn't everything, but it can really serve as a tool to make your life easier. So no matter what you want to do with your life moving forward, how much money or how much time you have, I ensure that this video will be worth your time. So the first thing you should do when you turn 18 is to get a credit card. I know, not your typical birthday present, but it's really important to get one, and I'll explain why. So while it might seem that credit is initially a bad thing, it's actually really important when you get to a point in your life where you need to borrow money from a bank to get a mortgage for your house or a rental property. When deciding whether or not to give you a loan, banks look at your credit score, and getting a credit card early can really help boost that number. This is because 15% of your credit score is determined by your length of your credit history, and another 35% is determined by your payment history. Having a good credit score tells the banks that you can handle borrowed money well, meaning that they would be less hesitant in giving you a loan, and probably will lend you money at a cheaper rate as well. If you don't follow this step now, your plans for future home ownership can be severely hindered and postponed. So what I would do is to start by getting a credit card with no annual fee and just putting a small payment on it every month, like buying milk. This way, you can start building your credit history and proving that you can handle borrowed money. It's as simple as just putting a small payment on it every month and just paying it off in full right away. This step will undoubtedly take you far financially, and I very strongly encourage that you start now. Speaking of banks, on a side note, I would call this point 1B. If you do not have a bank account that's under your own name, I would suggest that you get it right now. This will get you into the habit of paying your own bills, seeing your own expenses, and managing your money, and will really shape you into becoming a financially responsible adult that smashes the like button. The second thing I would do is open a TFSA, or in the US it's called a Roth IRA. The TFSA, or tax-free savings account, is where you can deposit your post-tax dollars and let it grow tax-free, which means that all the money that you earn from this account is, as the name suggests, tax-free. This is amazing for young people like us because right now we're not really losing much money to taxes, and also because of compound interest, because we really have time on our side. If you max out your TFSA and contribute $6,000 to it at the age of 30 at an 8% return until the age of 65, you would end with an investment of $88,000. However, if you invested that same $6,000 at the age of 18 at the same rate of return of 8% until the age of 65, you would end up with a total investment of $223,000. Just by investing that money earlier, you would have more than doubled your money, and all this money is tax-free. So what are you waiting for? Just open your TFSA. Now the third thing you should do when you turn 18 is to invest, and you should start now. Buy a low-cost index fund, buy it consistently, and hold it. I don't care what you do, but remember what Jack Bogle, the founder of Vanguard, said, and that is to buy and hold forever. It doesn't matter how you remember it. You can write it on your hand, post a sticky note on your wall, or tattoo it on your forehead. Just don't forget it. Buy and hold. That's all you really need to do. So whatever you procrastinated on in the past, don't procrastinate on this. Invest as soon as possible when you turn 18. Now the fourth thing to do is to stay out of debt. Now this is obvious, but what I mean by this is distinguishing between good and bad debt. Good debt is where you can leverage your money and take the money that you borrow, for example, in a low interest rate mortgage and use that money somewhere else, like investing in the stock market, to earn a greater return. But what I'm talking about here is consumer debt. For example, your credit card debt. This can really get out of hand quickly if you don't control it and really destroy your life. So whatever you do, never buy things that you can't afford outright. I know that sounded really obvious to you, but what's obvious to one person may be a novel concept to another. You'll be surprised to see how many people abuse their credit cards like it's free money, only to be completely smacked with debt that they can't repay. And they spend their lives going paycheck to paycheck trying to pay off these debts. So as always, just use your credit card like a debit card, except it has bonus cashback and points. So just use it like that. And really, at this point in our lives, we should really be focused on saving and investing. So we shouldn't let this debt hold us down from doing that. So always be responsible with your money and how you take on debt. The fifth thing to do is to act your wage. Basically what I'm saying is to live below your means. Have you ever wondered how a doctor who earns that hundreds of thousands of dollars each year struggles to save for his or her retirement, that's right, they don't save their money. It doesn't matter how much money you earn, it's all about how much money you can save. Like you can start off by earning $50,000 a year in your first job, and let's say you save $10,000 a year. But when you get a pay raise to, let's say, $80,000 a year, and you still save that same $10,000 per year, you're still in the same financial position as before, except this time you're spending more money, and that's what is called lifestyle inflation. Like it's really easy to upgrade your car, get a new home, or just spend more money in general when you get a pay raise. But it's really important to realize that this is going to be a vicious cycle, that if you continually spend more money as you get a pay raise, that you're never going to reach your financial goals or your future goals in general. So as always, you should set aside a percentage that you're going to save. I know for some people this is not attainable, but let's say you save 80% of your paycheck as you're earning $50,000, but you still save 80% when you get a pay raise to $80,000. This is how you would be able to reach your financial goal is if you always set a certain amount of money aside in your savings. And this is a perfect time for us to do this because we're young and we can act like we're broke at this age and it's socially acceptable. So if you start living below your means now, it becomes a really helpful habit that you can continue living by in the future. And it will really help to accelerate your path to retirement and doing the things you want in your life and checking those items off your bucket list. And the sixth thing I would do is really reconsider college. Like make sure it's really what you want to do and you would be a good fit there. Because you're going to spend the next 4 or more years of your life there and accumulate $30,000 to $40,000 in student debt that you would have to pay off in the future. It's become a really common problem these days that people just go straight into university or college without knowing what they really want out of it. And they end up having to spend years and years of their lives studying something that they don't want, only to be paying off their debts for more years to come just because they weren't sure of their career decision and they're just following whatever their friends or everyone else is doing. So really, have an open mind and consider all your options. If you don't know what you're going to do right now, you can just start working and earn some money while thinking about whether or not you would like to pursue post-secondary education. And another thing that you can do is just get your education out of the way by taking a cheaper, less expensive option like a community college, and while thinking about what you're going to specialize in as you're studying. Not only will you not waste your time studying something that you don't want, but you also won't need to pay off that large amount of debt when you finish your undergraduate degree. And the seventh thing I would do is to get a job. Like, seriously though, this is one of the biggest mistakes that I've made in my teenage years leading up to when I turned 18, is by not working. Like, I realize now how much free time I had before and how much this job experience would have helped me manage my time better in university today. And really set me up well, not only in terms of time management, but in terms of my financial position as well. Like, who wouldn't want some extra money, right? I could have not only developed more interpersonal skills and experience with dealing with people and working in general, but I could have also earned some money on the side while balancing between work and school more effectively than what I'm doing now. Like, all I was doing in the summers was just playing video games and watching anime. Don't do what I did and just go and get a job. It'll really be a great experience for you guys, not only to earn some money, but really learn how to deal with people in a professional manner. The eighth thing to consider is to not spread yourself out too thin. We live in a day and age where multitasking and trying new things and all that is the However, if you take on too many responsibilities at once, you can't really put the quality of work that you would like into every single one of them. It really makes you a jack of all trades but master of none. So always reflect on yourself and make sure that the things that you're doing in your day-to-day life are really what you're prioritizing for your future. Because honestly, we can't spread ourselves that thinly. It really makes our work feel less meaningful, and we tend to do worse if we are trying to focus on too many things at once and juggle our responsibilities. This is especially important for us as we are really becoming adults and we're getting more and more responsibilities each day, that we continue to assess what our priorities are and make sure we're not taking too many responsibilities at once. And the ninth thing to consider is to not avoid risk and always shoot above mediocrity. Too often do we avoid trouble and try to play it safe because that's honestly just easier and it doesn't really require much thinking. At a young age, we can truly afford to take big risks in our lives, as opposed to when we're older and we have a family or kids that we have to take care of. When you're older, you can't really have a career change, make a risky investment, or start that new business because we're tied down to our responsibilities. At this age, we should really take advantage that we have less responsibilities in our lives and we can afford to lose everything. That's because we have the time to recover from those losses. At this age, we should really be taking more risks because higher risks have a potential for higher return, of course. And even if you do fail, Not only do we have the time to recover, but it can also serve as a very valuable experience for us to learn from. And this really drives forward our personal development instead of always just playing it safe. Because if you're always playing it safe, you're never going to learn anything new and you're never going to step outside what you already know currently. I'm not telling you to gamble, but while we're still young, we should take risks while we can. Now, the 10th thing that you should do is to not give up. Just don't. Even if you fail at the goal that you're trying to achieve right now, your defeat is only temporary. Failure can never stand in the face of persistence. As you know, winners never quit. Like with any goal, as long as you keep trying and keep on grinding, there's going to be one day that you do succeed. And that day, you know you made it. And I know some of you guys might be thinking, I can't give up when I didn't even start yet. And that goes back to the point that I made earlier. Don't procrastinate. I know I said this before when saying don't procrastinate on investing, but I mean that for everything as well. I know it's pretty much impossible to avoid procrastination, but it's possible to minimize its effect on you achieving your goals. So right now, whatever goal you have, make a plan and start immediately. You may not think you have the tools, but work with what you have right now. And I know that you'll acquire more and better tools along the way that can help you succeed in whatever goal you are trying to achieve. Because you're never going to go from point A to point B in a single day. Someone who says, oh, I want to work out more, will never look like a professional athlete in the beginning. Most of them start off as a normal person like you and me. So what's stopping you from starting your goal? And as you go along with achieving your goals, you should always reevaluate where your time is being spent. In terms of procrastination, a lot of people get distracted by their phones. And for me, I set a daily usage limit on my phone that's unchangeable. So I really can't use it if I go past a certain amount of time. So if that helps you, then by all means do it. But in all things, keep reflecting and improving your systems that you may achieve your goal one day. The last thing to do is to really take care of your health. And for some of us, it's kind of difficult because one, some of us don't know how to cook. Two, some of us are just too lazy to exercise. And that goes back to the procrastination point. But really, if you don't have good health, you can't really enjoy your life to the fullest. And especially during university or college or in stressful times in life, it's really easy to forget taking care of yourself. Once you put your head down and do all your work and go about your life, and one day you just collapse in exhaustion, it might be too late for you to try to change that. So really, right now, at this age, at this very young age, develop good habits that can positively impact your health so that you lower your risk of developing health issues later on in your life. And I promise you that you won't regret it if you start today. So that's about it for this video. Smash that like button and hit subscribe for more content. I'm posting every week on Monday, so subscribe with post notifications on to not miss a video. Take care, you guys, and I'll see you guys in the next one.